Join Mike, Brook, and A'marri as they talk about the people who waste your time and how to spot them early. Whether you're hiring for your crew, screening tenants, or working with subs, they share the 4-step process that filters out the flakes that help you build a solid team. All this and more on the Cleveland Real Estate Investor Podcast.
What I did on my summer vacation. The first day of my vacation, I woke up. Then I went downtown to look for a job. Then I hung out in front of the drugstore. The second day of my summer vacation, I woke up. Then I went downtown to look for a job. Then I hung out in front of the drugstore. The third day of my summer vacation, I woke up.
That's fine.
Then I went downtown to look for a job.
That's fine, young
Then
man.
I got a job.
Young man.
Keeping people from hanging out
Young
in
man.
front of the drugstore.
Hi, everybody. This is Mike Riley with a twofer episode, one for our Small Business Confidential podcast and one for Cleveland Real Estate Investor. We're going to talk about hiring. How do you hire workers in your business, hire a sub, hire a property manager? What are the characteristics you're looking for when you hire these people to play key roles in your operation, be it property manager, handyman, taking care of a house, contractor coming in to do the work, fixing up your house. You've got a small business, XYZ. So with me is Brook and A'marri, and they're now knee deep in hiring. We're trying out some new approaches to hiring. So A'marri, you want to summarize your versus past years?
I know we've tried a myriad of different methods when it comes to hiring. And, one of the things that I think we're on high alert for now are the time wasters. Where is valuable time between me, you, Melanie, Brooke, whoever's helping within the hiring pool, maximizing the most out of their time. So now what we've been doing is, instead of these multi-step first round, second round, third round, fourth round, we're just cutting out a lot of that. And it's just, hey, here's the days, here's the 1 hour window where we can talk. You either make time to talk with us for a brief phone interview, do the smell test, brief introduction. And then if you make it past that, then we can move forward. And usually that's when you get all these different excuses. Like, I had the guy today, doctor's appointment. It's like, you knew what time this was happening. You probably should have known when your doctor's appointment was before this, but now you can't.
Yeah, that's amazing, because you can imagine you've got this critical job you got to finish, or you got to get this house turned around, and guess who has another doctor's appointment?
Yeah, exactly.
So I like it. It's Wednesdays and Thursdays. We'll do a phone interview between 11 and 12. Make sure you're available. If you can't do it, doesn't work. Boom. You've just eliminated most of your time wasters.
Right.
Now, the important thing to remember about a time waster, and these are subcontractors that you might want to hire. These are people looking for a job. There are people who spend their whole lives looking for a job. Literally. It's like that Cheech and Chong. In fact, we should insert that. I got up, went down the corner, looked for a job. How I spent my summer vacation. It's there. So let's make sure we insert that, that Cheech and Chong thing. But no, they're delusional. They're not getting any work because they don't really like to work. They like to look for a job, but they don't like to actually get up every day and go to work. So if they can't follow simple instructions like phone interview, we'll be calling you between 11 and 12 and make yourself available, and they fail that, you just saved yourself a lot of waste of time, right?
Exactly.
And this also applies to those of you who are renting to people. They're calling and inquiring about this property you have for rent. You may have a business where customers are calling and you expect them to do something real simple. Like, get back to me with some information, like when are you going to want to move in? How long is your lease going to be? What's your credit score? Just basic questions. Same thing applies, if you're looking for some customers calling and inquiring about what you do, what your company does, you get right back to them. You ask them a few questions. And if they don't get back to you, that's a time waster, right? Because you want to put your effort into those people that are developable, right? You say that 3 times. Developable. Huh.
Developable.
Go ahead, Brooke, your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, I think the common thread is whether you're hiring or, finding a renter or a property manager, or you're a contractor looking for a roofer or a realtor. I always think the best thing to rely on is referrals, getting that firsthand experience. So if it's a renter, I want to know from your previous landlord. And if you call them and they start laughing and say,
Guy's a loser,
your problem now, then that says it all, I think. If you call, a friend to say, hey, I need someone to come out and paint my house, but you got to call, Riley Painting. They did a great job. So it's getting that kind of firsthand experience because, it's one thing to sit in an interview and have, someone blow smoke up your butt for 30 minutes.
Oh, yeah, and they're the greatest. Believe me, if they're coming in for a painting estimate, they're frickin' Michelangelo, to hear them describe it. They'll work 60 hours. I mean, we've got guys in our company that man, they want to get tons of overtime. They want to get tons. As soon as they hit 39.99 hours, they're out the door. Yep. Right? So people have a great capacity to delude themselves. Yeah, I'm looking for a job. Yeah, I want to rent this house. My credit's bad, but I want to rent this penthouse, right? So don't want to be wasting your time. Maybe that's the subtitle for this, time wasters. What else, Brooke?
Yeah, I mean, I think also and this isn't something, I think this is something that you get just through, in my experience, like all your screw ups is, if you've got a really good kind of if you've got like a gut feeling, like this guy, just something about him, he's kind of
Doesn't smell right.
He's kind of overexcited. He's kind of jumping around a lot, or, he doesn't have anything that he needs to improve on. Or even if you just get this kind of weird vibe. I'm not saying all the time your gut's right, but most of the time your gut is right. And that feeling you had on the front end of an interview will always come back to bite you in the ass.
Yeah.
Now I'm not saying every time you interview someone, if you get that feeling, you automatically say, nope, no way, trusting my gut. I'm not saying that. I'm saying have your guardrails up. Because if you're in a situation where it's like, I need to hire 2-3 people. I need to get this done.
We need bodies.
I need bodies. I need someone who's going to show up and haul away junk for a day. You want to still trust your gut. You want to keep the guardrails up. You want to keep that person, on like a tight leash, not promise the moon, not promise, full-time, 40 hours a week, but maybe you kind of start sub. Be like, hey, you know what? I've got a project. It's a week, or it's a couple days. If you can start, we start Monday at 8 a.m. I can pay you X amount per hour. You get that in writing. You get them to sign it. Because we've run into this problem too, where we'll say, hey, I can pay you 15 to start, and I can pay you 20 if you know what you're doing and you
can get the job done.
And they want to be paid 20.
All they hear is, well, if he told me I would get paid 20. And it's like, no, I told you if you knew what you were doing. So,
And even 20 is low. I was like, well, I'm really used to getting 25, but he told me 20.
yeah. So,
Well, then what are you doing here? I mean, that's always the interesting part. Here we got Michelangelo, right? There's the painter, or Joseph the carpenter, right? Father of Jesus. I mean, we're talking, heavenly carpenter, Hall of Fame painter. And he's looking for a job. What's wrong with this picture?
It's like speed dating. Why are you single?
Yeah, exactly.
What's going on with you?
And why are you doing speed dating? That's the other thing. The old Groucho Marx rule. I wouldn't want to be a member of a club that would have me as a member, I mean, but, that's the tricky part of hiring, is that it's not like we're talking the Depression where you put an ad in, you get 1,000 people applying.
Right.
And 900 of them are overqualified. You're talking about a labor pool out there which doesn't really look at blue collar work as a future.
Mm.
They want to be working in a cubicle. They want to work. They want a coat and tie.
when in reality, what this country needs is that.
Yeah.
Because there's not a lot of young people. I was listening to a podcast and the guy kept saying, like, the number one growth area that this country is going to be in, like, desperate need is guys, women, people who can do HVAC, people who can do electrical, people who can do the plumber.
Repairs.
But that work, I think, is, it's not highly regarded, even though there's, that's an area of work that you can make,
Well, and the people going into work now are going in to get that college degree, and they're coming out and they're looking suit and tie. They're going to be in finance, investment banker, real estate mogul, get their real estate license, whatever that white collar gig is, driving around in an A4 or A6 Audi. They are, working with your hands, forget it. That's a dead end job. In reality, that's not the dead end job, because AI is going to be killing those people coming out of college looking for the suit and tie jobs. This is going to be obliterating that whole workforce. Everybody's saying that. That's a fact of life. So getting back to our hiring qualifications. Okay, so let's say you have now passed the first test. You've actually made yourself available from 11 to 12. That is a low bar, right? Mm-hmm. Okay, now what are we looking for on that call, Brooke? You're talking to them. What are some of the questions you're going to ask them? No formal applications, it's a meet and greet over the phone.
I would be asking them what they've been doing the past couple of years, the past year,
Yeah, you staying busy, making money?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Okay. What have you been doing?
Bunch of side jobs, or you're actually working for somebody?
Yeah. What kind of side jobs? Oh, I'm a painter. Oh, how long have you been, So I would just be, you're just kind of like smelling them out, and if they have zero things that if they've like screwed up when you get to that part of the interview, because I think it's important to ask, okay, so, what are some areas that you need to improve on? If the answer is nothing, then that is a huge red flag.
Right.
I think
Or if they say, oh, well, I work too hard.
another part of that too, which I've been kind of picking up on in some of my recent talks, is some people are really open with talking about their mistakes. I've even kind of gotten this feel after talking with more people that they're almost like, I don't want to say tired, but it's like, okay, here's my list of things that I have to disclose to everyone, or I've gone through so many interviews and I've been turned down for this, and they're just kind of ready to get it over with. But it's like, where's your responsibility in that? What did you learn from your mistakes? Don't just give me a list of, oh, here's where I fucked up. What do you plan on ever growing from that, or learning, or evolving, or changing, or is it someone else's fault?
Yeah, that's a good point. I think the second part of our process should be, okay, they call back. You're talking to them. They don't smell too bad, right? Smell, okay. I'm interested in talking to this person. Then you give them their next test. Hey, give me your email. I'd love to send you out an application and a link to who we are. And then I'd like you to fill it out and get it back to me tomorrow. Let's see if they can do that homework. And these are pretty simple questions. If you don't know the answer, that's fine.
Right.
Just say no. I don't know the answer. I don't know how to, I don't know what a GFI is. I don't know plumb. These are sort of general questions. We'd love to see you make an effort to ask them. And if you fill it out, if you fill this out, I can assure you that you'll be coming in for an interview the next day. But if you don't, and you can't do that, then it's telling us you're not interested. You're not serious. Just give them a heads up. Look, if you fill this out, you're coming in for an interview.
Right.
In preparation for this interview, I will make time to meet with you.
Right.
Okay? Because what we're looking at is where they are on the proactivity meter. I mean, this is easy stuff. All right? And if they're serious about turning their life around, or let's say, to me, the best, some of the things I'm looking for is somebody who's, I don't want to go to college. I'm 19. I just want to, I just want to take a year off. I just want to work in a company that I can learn some stuff. I mean, truly learn. And learning means you're going to be asking questions. We're not running a school here, because if we're running school, I'm going to charge you tuition, right? So take a college loan out. Go to the University of Riley Painting and Contracting. But no, I mean, you're looking, because you can't teach somebody who doesn't want to be taught. And that's a line out of the Vince Lombardi HBO documentary. They were talking to a reporter, and he was covering the Packers in the early, when Lombardi first came in. Here was the Packers, 1-13. Lombardi comes in. He inherits a 1-13 team. On that team was 8 to 10 Hall of Fame Pro Bowlers. The talent's there. It was just poor teaching. So what we're looking for is somebody who is going to want to be taught, which means they're going to want to show up every day for work. They're going to want to make an effort to come to work every day. They want a routine. They want to be part of a family. I mean, Anthony Bourdain, 16, started working in the restaurant business. He was going nowhere, but he felt at home in a restaurant. Charlie Trotter's documentary on Netflix. They're talking to the people that started working with Charlie Trotter. Brandon over to Edwin's, who runs the Edwin's Institute. These people are looking for a home. They're not necessarily looking for work. They're looking for a work that's also a home, an environment, an atmosphere. You saw that, Brook, with Falcon Camp, right? This was something that was separate from your family. Want to elaborate on that theme?
Yeah, I mean, I think people, when you get down to it, especially when you're out of high school, you want to find a career, not just a job. I think if it's put into the context of a career, that tells me that, this isn't just like a stopgap. This isn't just
A bus stop.
yeah. I mean, hey, if you're in high school, you need a summer job, I get that. I mean, you're on a time clock. But if you're, out of high school or college isn't for you, or you're out of college and you're like, you know what, I like working with my hands. I like doing something physical. I like seeing, it's funny. I was listening to another podcast, and there's something that the host was saying that is super gratifying for people in manual labor jobs and construction, is because you have a goal that day and you get to actually see your goal.
Right.
And I was talking to my wife about it, who doesn't do she works on a computer, she's dealing with clients and patients, but she loves doing these projects on the weekend where she like assembles a shoe rack.
Yeah.
Because she has a goal, she gets it done, she's working with her hands, and then she can see her goal
Or gardening.
accomplished, or gardening.
Cut the grass. Do the laundry.
So
Clean the kitchen.
yeah, I think that, kind of like the next step is, let's say they pass the 11 to 12 availability. Let's say they fill out the application. Let's say we give them a shot.
Again, that Cheech and Chong. First question is, what's your name? And they forgot what their name was. Go ahead.
Let's say they show up on time, first day. You've scripted it out. That person isn't working alone. They're working side by side. They have a foreman. They have someone who's supervising their work. You better have clear-cut assignments and goals.
Yeah, exactly.
If you're painting a garage, the goal for the first, you better just simplify it. Hey, from 9 to 10, I need you to scrape this one side. At 10 o'clock, I'll come by, check the work. If they pass that, next side. If they pass that, next side. And then after each time they kind of get it done, you can kind of shorten that leash.
Yeah.
A little bit. But that first day, hell, that first week, it's just super simple.
And no doctor's appointments.
No doctor's appointments, no
Old lady got hit by the car.
$500 advance. No, hey, you got a couple bucks for the bus stop? No.
Right.
I think we've learned from those mistakes, and it's like, hey.
Or they'll share with you I'm trying to get my kids back. Or, whatever. You know what?
I need to save up for a house. So I don't care.
Whatever. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't.
And I think one of the things to keep in mind is that a lot of times people, it's not that they're not successful, but they could be unlucky. They're working with the wrong company where the boss is dysfunctional. It's not scripted. It's fly by the seat of their pants. And then he's yelling at you because he assumes you're supposed to be a mind reader and understand what you're supposed to be doing, and nobody's explained it to him. Now, I'm a little leery about listening to, every company I work for is got some problems, and I got no problems.
They're bullshit.
Yeah, exactly. But I definitely feel like step 1, 11 to 12. Step 2, fill out the application. Step 3, come on in for an interview. You've just had 3 doors they got to go through to see if they can follow directions and show up. Step 4 is probationary hire. Let's just see what you can do. Okay?
Hey, let's stop here. We got to pay some bills. 30 seconds, and we'll be back. If you've been listening to this podcast, then you understand or should understand the pitfalls of investing in Cleveland real estate. Say you're looking for an investment property to rent, and these are the things that could happen and often do. You overpay for a house, and it's in the ghetto. Then you find that it's a money pit with endless surprise repairs. Your hapless property manager, who may be the brother-in-law of the realtor, gets a tenant who after 3 months stops paying the rent. Then the toilet explodes, and you have nobody to repair it because, guess what? The property manager is not answering the phone. Yep, that's the ugly side of the Cleveland real estate market. But we have a solution. Buy one of our properties. It's been inspected. It's been vetted. It's in a rock-solid part of town. It comes with a Gold Star tenant paying top dollar rent, and we manage it. Call us at 216-371-8160 if you're interested.
One thing I'd like to highlight is I like how we recently changed up the order of the first two, whereas first we were doing the online application first.
Yeah.
And then calling and then finding out, oh, this person is barely awake during this phone call. I have no idea who A'marri is, Melanie is.
Yeah.
What's even going on. So you get kind of that preliminary smell test first and say, okay, that went decently well. Now let's see if you can actually follow up
Exactly.
with this application and then go through these steps.
See, most of the time, I mean, our competition, your competition podcast listeners, they're all going through the same formal interview like, here's an application. Oh, I'm here for a job. You know, Craigslist ad or some online thing. And you're asking them to fill out this 3-page application. Whatever. You know, they're not going to do it. But if it's a simple phone call, that's easy.
Right.
Now, maybe, you know, you got a little, you got your fishing rod. There's a little nibble there, right?
Right.
Okay. They're waiting for that phone call
Mm-hmm.
at 11 o'clock. Okay. And just tell them, look, it'll be more on the front end, 11 to 12. Do you want to make it 11:30? Do you want to make it, 11, between 11:15, 11:15, 11:30? Because we're going to have multiple people calling back.
Right.
Okay. It's not just you. It'll be Brooke and maybe even be Travis if we got a lot of. Then just call them back. Just say, hey, how are you doing? I'm glad you made time, blah, blah, blah. Can I tell me a little bit about yourself? They're taking notes, and then we send out an application. We could have multiple people doing the first interview call, right? When they come in for an application, now it's a select few who are actually looking at that application, ladder test, paint test, whatever we want to, put them through. But they've shown up, and on their application, let's stay on group 2 here. That application we're looking for, they just got out of prison because they murdered their boss. I don't think I want that guy coming in for an interview, right?
The guy that stole from his company.
Yeah, embezzled, identity theft. No, I don't think so. So, hey, send your application in, and I can assure you in 2 days, we'll get back to you. Make sure you don't lie about it because we do a preliminary background check. We just give them, everything it is.
Right.
So I like the fact that we've got this 3-step process. Mm-hmm. And we also have the step 4, which is the probationary hire. Maybe we treat them as a sub. Hey, why don't you just work for us a couple days, see how it works.
Right.
Okay. And then we match them up with a good manager, good wingman. Maybe he's going out with, Travis, he's just helping out, or, something simple, scripted, like you said, Brooke.
Yeah.
Scripted to the minute. And we let them know, look, we're going to script you the minute. I don't want you to feel overwhelmed, but I want you showing up. And then we have, on that first day, we give them we're going to rewrite, welcome to your first day at work here. And we're going to say, no doctor's appointments first week. I don't want to, you know what? If you're in the emergency room, crawl your ass in here for work. Okay?
Mm-hmm.
All right? We don't want to, don't even go there.
Right.
So, what else, A'marri?
I think in that phase 4 of it, it's also kind of a test for the managers themselves, how they're actually interacting with these guys, the level of feedback that they're giving, and eventually whatever kind of complaints 90% of the time eventually come to us, where we get to see how they're interacting with these new people. And there's another layer of value there, where it's like, okay, best case scenario, we get someone good who can do X, Y, and Z, but at the bare minimum, we're able to take that information we're getting from the feedback that the foreman or manager, whoever is giving them, and refine the process, whether that's, okay, well, here's what you do if this happens, or, we get to see where they might be making a mistake and saying, hey, well, you're not managing correctly, and here's what you need to be doing differently.
That was going to be my next point. Is it's such a bad look when you have hired someone who has a lot of promise and a lot of talent and has a good attitude, and you give them to a foreman and they're just a pain.
Yeah.
And they're, oversharing, or then they're going to another foreman who's being just super strict, or you're going to another guy who's talking to you like you're, a second-class citizen. So you better make sure that your foreman, your lieutenants are all on the same key of music.
There shouldn't be any change regardless of who they're working with. And if there is, we got to make sure we straighten it out at the top.
Right.
And the one thing to keep in mind, I think in our society now, and maybe it's because I'm older than you guys, but I just think there just seems to be more and more incompetence out there. Hey, I grew up 50s, 60s, before deregulation of the phone company. He called up AT&T. That's a problem's fixed that day. The phone company, you called the gas company, they got somebody out that day. Electric, all these utilities. Yeah, it was regulated. You went on a flight, an airline flight. You weren't wearing flip-flops. You were dressed up going. I know there's pros and cons to that, but there is so much, it just seems like the way kids are raised, look at something like schools, for example. Why aren't schools banning cell phones? That seems a no-brainer. But for some school systems, a lot of schools, it's a heavy lift. No, your phone's going there. You're here to learn.
Right.
Not be on your phone. But the bar is lower. And that is a plus and a minus. The plus is that if we have a really great company, like your company is really great, where you're quality oriented, quality service, quality properties, clean, you have a high standard there, you're going to do really well because your competition sucks for the most part. But on the other hand, hiring those people who are true to your character and your standards, that's going to be harder. Mm-hmm. But the kind of person who wants to work for you is going to gravitate to that. It's like they just want to be on a winning sports team, right?
Yeah.
They don't want to be, going nowhere. They got to feel like this company, yeah, I like this company. I like this vibe. And sometimes we've got to protect them. By saying you're on the right path. You're doing great. People love, when you're managing people, you're praising them, criticizing, praising. The Mary Kay, the sandwich. Yeah. The praise is the 2 pieces of bread.
Yeah, I made a mental note of that as a new dad.
Yeah. Tell me, expand on that.
Well, no, I mean, it's like when, when that first occurrence comes, because right now all he can do is sing Wheels on the Bus. So, but I mean, yeah, I mean, I think when that time comes, that's just a good thing to keep in mind.
Yeah. Yeah. Consistency is important. You can't, and you got to walk your own talk. That's probably the biggest, whether you're a parent, teacher, president of a company, leader in the military, whatever. You got to walk the talk, but on the other hand, you're the person at the top. You set the tone, it's not up for discussion. Yeah. That's why, again, see some of these movies with these kids, they treat dad like an idiot. 10 years later, here's dad. He's putting money on the table, putting a roof over people's head, and they're making fun of him. Oh, I mean, really?
I think, though, I know you bring that up a lot, but there is, at least on like my feed on social media, like that kind of stigma, I think, has gone away, at least on the stuff that I'm seeing. There's a lot more like, and who knows, it could be the algorithm of TikTok or YouTube,
or showing you what you want to see.
But a lot of the stuff that I'm seeing that I want to see are like young dads, waking up early, working out, taking care of their kid, taking care of their wife, being there for their kid. I'm not seeing anything that shows dad as like, lazy on the couch,
A doofus. Say all you got to do is turn on the commercials on TV. They're everywhere. Trust me. I mean, in fact, I know
but again, it's like
a shot game.
I think
you don't substitute root beer for regular beer.
Yeah, but a lot of like people my age, they're seeing more commercials on Instagram, on TikTok.
Okay.
Which is the stuff that I'm seeing. And it's stuff that,
algorithms.
yeah. So
This is all incredibly targeted based on your.
but hey, I mean, it worked. And I mean, like I'm seeing positive examples.
Yeah.
And, I've just been doing a lot of reading on, good things you can do as a new dad. And one of the things that they said is it's important for your child to see you like working out.
Yeah.
It's you showing your kid a positive example. Another thing is like showing affection to your wife, showing them this is what a healthy relationship is like.
And not criticizing your spouse in public.
Yeah.
Making fun, joking. No, I used to see that a lot with some friends of mine, you could just see they were kind of, she does this or he does that. It's just putting them down. And then why am I not surprised that they're divorced a couple years later?
Right.
I mean, it's like an acid drip.
Or their kid sees that at a young age and is like, oh, that's how I'm supposed to.
Yeah.
Right.
That's how I'm supposed to treat my girlfriend or my wife.
Yeah.
But if you see those positive examples on the front end,
Right.
so.
I think one of the things, there's a lot of, getting back to hiring, you're crossing into the dad tangent here, but it's the same rules apply. Look at, people are going to follow you if you're worth following. Okay. If you're paying them every 2 weeks and you're treating them with respect, you expect to be treated the same way. Thank you for providing me with a job. They don't like the job, they can always quit, give notice, quit. Hey, thank you for the opportunity, et cetera, et cetera. And that's the way it should be, for dads or moms. Remember my sister-in-law juggling 2 jobs, doing, nursing at 11 o'clock at night, after doing her first job. Man, when she comes home, there should be a bath waiting for her. Glass of wine, right? That's what you do. It's like, dad comes home, the old school pipe and slippers. It's waiting for him. Hey, you busted your ass. Thank you for your efforts, right? That kind of thing. Thank you. That praise when you're managing people. Thank you for, hey, good job today. Thank you. More of that positive reinforcement.
Right.
I mean, and those rules apply across the board.
I think too, it's, I think when I was a foreman, I would say my biggest strength and was probably my biggest weakness was I think I gave guys too much slack. But I knew that when it was crunch time and we had to get a job done, if I said, hey guys, I need you to stay here until 6:30, one guy in particular, he was like, yeah, I got you, because I took care of him.
Right.
And I think that's super important. It's giving them that praise. It's, telling them, you're doing a great job when it's deserved. And when they're not doing a good job, you need to tell them that in a very professional, straightforward way. You don't need to have a 20-minute meeting about it.
You don't need to be rah. It's important. It's
I shouldn't have to tell you why it's important to use a drop cloth.
Right. Exactly. And I probably said this in past podcasts, straight into the whole dad thing, but I've said this many times. When I was like 8 or 9, I'm doing the work. My dad's not doing anything. I'm thinking, why are you, hey, Dad, why are you, how come you're not helping out here and we're doing anything? Just because I'm the dad. I thought it for 30 seconds. Said, yeah, I guess that makes sense. Yeah. You're the boss, right? You're the one that writes the checks. And I think one of the things you always got to keep in mind, when you're hiring a sub for your property or you're hiring somebody is, listen, I don't work for you. I don't want to hear about your family when you first start out. I don't want to hear about this. I don't hear about this. I don't want to hear about how you need to make more money. Okay? Yep. You just tell me, if you want to have that conversation, tell me how you met payroll last year. You ever run a business? How would you like to be working 7 days a week dealing with a guy who is missing time every week and then is complaining about how much they're making?
Right.
That's called the description of a failure right there. No awareness, totally oblivious to that. And I think ending on this note, I think we've gone through the 4 steps of hiring. We're all agreed about that. We've taken some dad tangents and managing tangents. But at the end of the day, you're building an organization. Who's your left tackle? Who's your running back? You're the quarterback, right? You're building this organization, and you got to make sure that people that you want to be in the foxhole with.
Yep.
Yeah, that's what it is. You take care of them, they take care of you, and that's a great organization. And you know what? That shows up in great companies. I'm thinking of, Doug Katz's restaurant. Everybody in that group. I mean, you go over to L'Albatross, these restaurants I go to. Everybody's a pro there. Yeah. Everybody's a pro. And that's what it is. So that's why dress is important. That's why clean truck's important. So, all right. All right. Okay, folks. We'll have another fun-filled podcast coming up with a few dad tangents thrown in.
Dad corner.
Yeah, we should have a dad corner. And we'll have for A'marri, Uncle Corner.
There you go.
All right. We're quiet, folks. Yeah, see you later.
Thank you for listening to the Cleveland Real Estate Investor Podcast with Mike Riley. Please add our show or follow us on Spotify, Overcast, Apple Podcast, or Spotify. Leave a like or comment on the video. All engagement is appreciated. Subscribe to us on YouTube as well for video content coming soon. For any Cleveland listeners or Cleveland Browns fans, you can check out our other podcast, Cleveland Browns Anonymous, for our weekly group therapy session. This is also on all the same platforms as the Cleveland Real Estate Investor.